speaker is already coming on the stage. Her name is Susan Hartland. You probably know her as the new director of animal rights, and she's gonna tell us something about animal rights.
Wow, it's really nice to see everybody today. Oh, there it goes. I'd like to first start with thanking everybody for coming out, especially in the weather, but I know the weather doesn't matter because we have compassion. I'd like to thank the small team that put all this together, the girls that did all of the work for so long to put such an amazing event together. I'd like to thank them. If you give them a little round of applause. And all of the volunteer stewards who helped keep us all safe during the march. Thank you guys so much. So today we're a collective voice for animals. The animals we refer to, the non-human animals, the billions that suffer behind closed doors in labs for agriculture, enslaved for entertainment, killed as pests, hunted, habitat destroyed, neglected and abandoned, treated as mere things or property to be owned, suffering the most extreme atrocities at the hands of humans, atrocities we have normalized. Humans reference animals in a derogatory way, and then we refer to our antagonists as rats, pigs, dogs, cockroaches. Because we have been treating animals so poorly throughout history, it has been easy to dehumanize people of different nationalities, races, tribes, cultures, to degrade them in this way to vermin and pests and ready them for extermination, and this has led to the darkest episodes of human history. Some, like Nobel Prize winner Isaac Singer, believe that war and genocide will keep existing as long as we treat animals as objects. As long as human beings will go on shedding the blood of animals, there will never be any peace. We say they have no voice, that they suffer in silence, but some cry and scream. They will struggle and fight at the cruelty inflicted upon them. All animals fight for their lives. They fight against a short, cruel, horrible existence. Others suffer a lifetime of agony. They have no recognized voice in a human world. But we are here today because we hear them and we see them. We march today to be their voice and demand their rights. But what are animal rights? People ask, do animals want to drive? Do they want to vote? It's not what they want, but what they're entitled to. The individual freedoms we have to gather here today, the freedom to dress like we want, to look like we want, to free speech, the everyday freedoms we take for granted. Ever since we came sedentary agriculturists, human society was divided into hierarchies in which the freedom to do as we please was reserved for the very few, kings and priests. It has only been since the French and American revolutions that there has been an idea of individual freedoms for the common people. Ideas put into writing by men like John Stuart Mill, who said, "The only freedom which deserves the name is that of pursuing our own good in our own way, so long as we do not attempt to deprive others of theirs or impede their efforts to obtain it." In other words, your personal freedom ends where it harms others. But who are those others? Who we include in those others for freedoms is what defines how wide our moral circle of compassion is. At the time the European and American constitutions were written, the circle of compassion did not extend beyond white Christian men. Since then, we have widened our circle of compassion to include other races, religions, women. In recent time, LGBTQ people are on the road to equality. To have rights, you have to have interests. Things like pain to avoid and happiness to pursue. Sentience, put into words in the famous quote by Jeremy Bentham. The question is, not can they suffer, or not can they reason, nor can they talk, but can they suffer? Animals have a right to live, to seek happiness, to pursue pleasure, and avoid pain. The true philosophical foundation for animal rights came in 1983 when Tom Reagan published his book, The Case for Animal Rights. Tom Reagan said, "All sentient animals have interests, beliefs, sense of future. They are subjects of life and have inherent value. Inherent value is the value of a living being, independent of its instrumental use or value for others." Animal rights is then defined as being treated in a way that respects your inherent value. To not be property, to not be tortured, to the right to live, For wild animals to be left alone, to not be hunted, have your habitat destroyed, to not be managed, caught, and put on display. For domesticated animals under our care, it means a duty to care for them. We want to work towards a future with rights for animals, where there are no animals under our care, bred for food, clothing, display, or entertainment, or to work for us. We are here today to be the voice of those whose own voice is not recognized in a human-dominated world. Our fight for animal rights is the last big emancipation battle. It cannot be seen as separate from the others that came before. It is a battle for moral consideration for animals, animal rights, and liberation. Unfounded discrimination based on membership of a species falls into the same category of wrongs as racism and sexism. It takes courage to stand up for what you believe in. Even though we are the minority today, we will be on the right side of history tomorrow. And history has taught us that change is possible with resolve and determination. Schopenhauer said, all truth passes through 3 stages. First, it is ridiculed. Second, it is violently opposed. Third, it is accepted as being self-evident. One day, our position of animals having inherent value and are entitled to rights will be the self-evident norm, and the current exploitation of animals will be looked upon in horror and shame. We have a lot of work to do, but seeing everybody out here today gives me hope. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Susan. That was very, 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 very nice. Hand of applause for Susan from Animal Rights, please.